Hi there, Catherine here. So today I thought I would do a video on what kind of paper to buy for making paper tags at home. So I get asked a lot of questions on what weight paper should they get and what kind of paper is best for what project. So today I'm just going to do a simple video on how to find the best paper and what my favorite papers are. So the first paper I'm going to talk about is Cardstock. So I get my paper from the paper mill. I'm not affiliated with them. It's just after the years that I've been making paper tags and paper crafts at home, I just really like the company and they have a lot to choose from. And I'll make sure to put a link below in the description so you can find that there. So I like using a heavier weight cardstock. This is in an ivory color, and as you can see, it's 110 pounds, so grams. So this is a really nice cardstock. Another cardstock that I use is this white one right here that I also get from the paper mill. And as you can see, it's 110 pound cover weight, which is also 300 grams. And the brand is by Mohawk if you want to search on the website to find it. And I get it in the 8.5 by 11 size. You can also buy it bigger in most of the papers and cut it down. It's a good way to save on money, but I find that takes a lot of time. But I do personally do that with some of the paper. So here you could see the white and the beige next to each other. So these are the two colors I use for cardstock. And with all the different colors, they always tend to have a different feel to them, even though if you buy them all the same weight. Like these are both 110, but there's definitely a big difference in how sturdy it feels. Here you can see this is the white, and here is the beige. So you can see this one's a lot lighter and this one's a lot heavier. This is also probably my favorite paper that I use. This is 18 point brown craft, and you can see it here. So this one feeds fairly easily through my inkjet printer. I still do tend to have to feed it by hand, and it prints really well. Black looks great on this. Anything with like light colors like yellow doesn't print very well just because it's too similar in tone. It just looks too dull. And also pink, I find pink is just really hard to print, even though it's such a popular color right now. It's just so hard to get the color right. So I'd recommend if you're designing your labels just to keep it black, because that's just the best way to go. And sometimes I also use this, and you can see it basically looks the same except there's some spots. And this is called a chipboard, and this is 22 point, so it's really heavy. I could just barely feed this through my printer. I don't use this one for printing. This one I just use for like making blank paper tags or for crafts. And this is really good for scrapbooking, making covers, or just to reinforce, like to put it behind your paper as like to give like something rigid if you're mailing like photos and then you put it into a plastic sleeve. Chipboard is excellent for that. It's a really great material. And this is the lightest of the chipboard. This is 22 points. And I buy this from Uline. And the only thing I don't like about Uline is just that you have to buy so much to make it worthwhile, like almost $200 or $300. You can't just buy like one thing. And what I like about the paper mill is that I can get a smaller order size. I think they have free shipping at around $100. But because I live in Canada, I still have to pay the duties, which ends up being around $70. So it is really expensive. So I make sure to order a lot, like enough to last 6 months to a year. Well, probably more like 6 months. And because the other thing I find about buying paper is you don't want to buy too much of it, because you have to take care of paper. Paper can start to curl, and it can also get damaged really easily. So you don't want to buy so much that you're going to end up throwing it away from damage. And lastly, this is another one of the papers that I use. So this one I buy in really big sheets. It's like a double A4. And the reason why I buy this is it's like the white cardstock that I just showed you, except this one is even heavier, and it's a Coverstock. So it's not the same as cardstock. I find Coverstock is more durable. It's meant for covers. And you can see it's shiny on one side and it's matte on the other. So I'll try to show the two sides together. So the only thing that I don't like about this is that, like, if you use this for a jewelry card, it will scuff. It'll show gray marks from the jewelry. So this always has to be laminated. But what happens is when you laminate it, it looks so professional and nice. And this is my favorite card paper that I use, and I use this for making jewelry cards. But this would be too heavy for business cards. I find it just looks strange. Here you can see that the brand is Verso. It's 14 point, and the size is 18 inches by 12 inches, and it's 150 sheets. And so this one, when I buy it, I cut it into half to feed through my printer. And the reason why I buy it in the big sheets is just because it's cheaper, and I tend to use this one the most. So just to save money, I bought it in the bigger sheets. So I'm printing with the Epson C88 Plus, and I'm just going to show how the different papers print. So this is the cardstock, the 110 pound cardstock. So you can see the machine fed the paper on its own. And you can see that it prints really well. This is mainly because it's white paper. Here is the ivory 110 pound cardstock. And I'm just going to send that through the printer. So here you can see that the color pops really well, but whenever you're printing on color paper, just understand that inkjet, the ink will be sort of transparent, so it will change the color, it probably will darken it a bit. And here I have the brown cardstock. This is heavier than the 110. So here you can see the machine won't feed on its own, so I have to help it out. And you want to keep your hand on the paper the entire time, or else it'll get lines. But you can see it has a really nice style to it. And brown cardstock is so popular right now. So you can see there was a bit of a misprint. I'm not sure if that's because I was pulling on it but I find with the heavier paper, there's always some like mistakes. So you're just gonna have to print more than you need. And now I'm going to demonstrate printing on chipboard. So normally I don't print on this unless I really think the heavier weight paper will give a nice style to it. So here you can see it didn't feed very well at all. That's the problem with the heavier weight paper, and sometimes it can get stuck. So I'm just gonna give, not a hard pull, but just a little bit of a pull. So you can see it didn't print correctly. That's just because it's too thick to feed through the printer. So I would just use this for certain design projects, but it's really good for reinforcing behind photos. And well, I hope you found this video helpful, and thanks for watching. Make sure to subscribe, and I'll see you next time.